What's going on, everybody? And today I'm going to talk about topical dutasteride and all the characteristics that basically dictate the efficiency of all these topical compounds. Now, um, when we talk about topical compounds, whether they are anti-androgens or they are 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, whether it's topical finasteride, topical dutasteride, an anti-androgen like RU58841, first of all, and the most important thing is that the mechanism of action of this compound has to be understood, meaning it has to you have to know basically what it does and how it fights androgens and which exact androgens does that compound actually fight. For something like topical dutasteride is going to only block the conversion of testosterone to DHT. So if you apply it topically to the scalp, it's basically gonna play that role in the scalp versus finasteride. And finasteride only blocks one type of 5-alpha reductase. Dutasteride blocks type 1 and 2, so it achieves a higher levels of inhibition of DHT. But if you go to something like RU58841, you find that it's a topical anti-androgen, and the mechanism of action that a lot of these anti-androgens basically work by is a lot of them work by occupying the androgen receptor so that they can prevent androgens from basically attaching to the androgen receptors in the scalp and thus miniaturizing and destroying the hair follicles over time. So with that being said, the mechanism of action of the compound itself is the most important thing to understand when it comes to understanding whatever topical solution you're using for the purposes of hair loss, in this case exactly for androgenic alopecia, right? Now, there are a bunch of things that will dictate how efficient this basic compound will be when you apply it to the scalp. Number one will be the formulation, right? So a lot of these compounds have to be formulated at 5% or above, sometimes above 7.5%, to have substantial efficiency as far as basically delivering that mechanism of action and actually preventing what you want to be prevented, which is basically hair loss. So a lot of these compounds you have to be at concentrations above 5%. Sometimes for many other compounds they have to be above 7.5%, like as far as I recall CB 0301, it has to be above 7.5% for the purposes of hair loss, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the second thing would be the molecular size, and this is something that's very crucial that a lot of people don't understand, is that the molecular size to basically penetrate through the skin will have to be under 500 Daltons. And one of the problems with topical dutasteride is that it is above 500 Daltons compared to something like topical finasteride or even RU58841. But since it's way more powerful than, let's say, finasteride, and since there are other methods to enhance the absorption, and thus it basically can still be used and achieve high efficiency when it comes to basically fighting the THT in the scalp. Number three is penetration enhancers, and penetration enhancers are basically things that would increase the level of penetration of a topical compound in the scalp, and these are things that will include DMSO, ethyl alcohol, propylene glycol, and so many other things that I'm going to mention basically, or make a list of in the description so that people can look them up and research them if they want. But a lot of these penetration enhancers are already mixed with the compound that you buy. When you buy basically something like a topical finasteride or RU58841, because they have to be there to achieve maximum efficiency. Some people may be allergic to some of these compounds, and thus you can resort to others, but at least some of these compounds have to exist in the solution so they can enhance the absorption in the scalp. Number 4 is pH levels. Basically, a pH range of 5.0 to 5.5 is ideal. Deviations can impair the skin barrier and affect absorption. And this is also a topic that's very crucial to understand, and I might focus on that in another video. So number 5 is application method, right? 1 milliliter is usually the volume that is needed to apply once a daily or sometimes twice a daily to the scalp, so you can achieve a basically proper or an efficient enough volume to achieve the desired effect as far as fighting the androgens or the DHT in the scalp. If you're using it on other smaller areas, you might use a smaller volume, but usually 1 milliliter is what is needed to achieve efficiency. So if you're using topical finasteride, you would apply 1 milliliter every day to the scalp. Some people would go as far as much as twice a day, but once a day would be, according to a lot of sources, the minimum efficient dose. Number 6 is basically dosage and frequency. We talked about this before. Something like topical finasteride at applied once or twice a daily. The daily is standard, and higher concentrations, do not always correlate with better absorption, but there is a minimum, and we talked about that. And for every compound, it is different. So for every compound, basically you have to research what is the minimum efficient dosage you need in the solution, so you can achieve at least the minimum efficiency for that compound. Then you have duration of use, and a lot of people with these compounds, they would use a compound for 3 weeks or a month, and if they don't see results, they would say, oh, this compound is not efficient, or this compound is useless, without giving it enough time basically to build up and to work. Because a lot of these things, they don't take that, they don't work that fast, and it has to do with the hair cycle, because the hair cycle itself takes a lot of time, so it's not going to be fast, as fast as some people would like it to be. Now, with that being said, there are so many things that one can measure to make sure that they have the preferred environment for hair growth. One of these things basically would be just to systematically know your DHT levels all the time. So for people that take oral finasteride or oral dutasteride, the best is to get you basically a blood test and know your DHT levels way before, so you can have a baseline before you jump on any treatment, and then get on the treatment, and then after that basically measure your DHT levels again to see what kind of change happened to your DHT levels across the course of the treatment. And this is essential. A lot of people don't do that, but this is essential. Now, with hair, there are so many things that you can also measure. Like, for example, you can measure how many hairs are falling in the shower by having a hair catcher in your shower and counting that. There are other methods that are sophisticated. I might talk about them in detail in another video to track your hair loss. But that, basically the hair catcher and just visual tracking with pictures of your hair loss and of your scalp is also very crucial to be able to see what areas are thinning or filling up in your scalp. And with that being said, these were basically the main variables that would affect skin absorption when it comes to these topical compounds. Now, I've been using topical dutasteride for a while, and I've been using a specific brand of topical dutasteride, and I've been having some positive results. My experiment is not concluded yet, so when my experiment is concluded, I will make a video update and basically tell everybody all the variables and everything that happened in my experience, and what kind of results I got from topical dutasteride, knowing that I'm using it alone. So that should be a gauge on how efficient it is. I mean, it's only topical compound that I'm using right now, so I'm checking the progress that I'm having. So with that being said, check out the website perfecthumanx.com for everything self-improvement and to achieve the perfect version of yourself, as far as protecting your hair, muscle mass, skin, health, and longevity. And I'll see you in the next video.